Hello everyone, you're watching CardyGolf. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're with CardyGolf, and today I'm back at Northamptonshire County Golf Club with Lewis White at ProFitting. Welcome, Lewis.
Thank you. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, buddy.
So you might remember last time I was with Lewis, he fitted me for a new driver and we had a great experience, and I think a lot of people enjoyed the video, so I'm back today, and today we're talking wedges. I've never been fitted for wedges, so I'm really interested to see what it's all about and what Lewis can do for me, and just to find out why people should get fitted for wedges.
So as a bit of an introduction, I'll just talk you through the basic process of how a wedge fitting goes here with myself. So the first process is always wedge distance gapping. So we'll start with the customers or Joe's pitching wedge, find out exactly how far it's going, find out exactly what loft it is. So we'll actually measure it in our loft and line machine so we can make sure we know accurate what it is at this moment in time. And from there we're trying to then establish some nice yardage gaps, anywhere between 10 and 15 yards, nothing too big, nothing too small, and find out how many wedges Joe likes to play, what sort of shot he likes to hit, and start with the distances to begin with. After that we're lucky enough to have a grass driving range to accurately fit and test the different bouncing grind options. So the majority of the wedge fitting that I go through are with the Titleist Vokey SM7s. Reason being is they're the #1 played wedge on tour pretty much every single week, and they have the most amount of options. So when we're fitting golfers into them, whether they need something, a lot of versatility, or whether they need something because of their attack angle, we can generally find something that really helps them. As you can see, I've got a hell of a lot of the different bouncing grind options in here. I've got 21 of their wedges. Also, I'm lucky enough to be one of 24 places in the whole of the country to have the different wedge fitting pack, or the shore fitting pack as Titleists call it. So this has different length and different shaft types, rather than just having the standard wedge fitting shafts that they normally have in there. And we also have different lie angle heads that we can test as well for different types of golfer, be it if they're taller, shorter, need a flatter or more upright lie. Right, so step one of a wedge fit is obviously gapping, as I just said. So I'm just going to get Joe to hit a few with his current pitching wedge. Really important thing, whenever I'm doing a wedge fit, I always use Pro V1, Pro V1X practice balls as well. The range balls that we fit with are fantastic for a longer club, but with a wedge they don't generate the accurate launch and spin number that a real sort of urethane covered tour quality golf ball will do. How far would you expect to carry a pitching wedge, Joe?
I was dreading you asking me that. Probably like, it depends on the time of year. I reckon now about 145, 146, something like that.
We'll see how accurate you are in a minute.
So whilst Lewis is on the loft and lie board checking up on my lofts and lies, just want to point out my estimation of my carry distance. When I said that it was about 145, my average there is 145. Important to know your distances, folks.
So as you've just seen, I've just measured Joe's pitching wedge in the loft machine. So I've checked this and it's at 46 degrees, which is pretty much what I would expect from a fairly bladed club these days, in the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of pitching wedges are getting stronger than that, but because this is a sort of more traditional build club, being a bladed head, 46 is where I'd imagine seeing it. So the next point from there really is checking what lofts Joe's using in his bag at the moment. So he's got a 52 and a 58 degree. So what that provides, obviously, from 46 is 6 degree gaps between the two wedges, which is about as big a loft gap as we'd like to see, really.
Yeah.
Most amateurs would like to see anywhere between 4 and 6. Mm-hmm. The better players, hopefully Joe's class is a better player, we don't mind them stretching that gap up to that 6, because you can hit 3/4 shots a little bit better. Slightly high handicappers, we like to go for tighter yardage, tighter loft gaps, sorry, because then they can hit full shots, haven't got to worry about hitting knockdowns all the time. So really I'd then ask the question on, does someone still want to stick with the 2 extra wedges, or do they want to add any more wedges in there? So really this is more player based than me telling them what they should have.
I quite like the 2 wedges, and I do carry a 2-iron as well,
Fine.
so I don't know where I'd fit. Yeah,
Not
so
really got the room in there.
No, absolutely, and I do like to be able to pitch with one club, so my 52 is kind of like 130 all the way down to kind of around the green side. So for that reason, there wouldn't be much point, I guess, for me to have another wedge with that.
Sure. Some players, as Joe just said, some people find it more confusing having more wedges. So for Joe, it makes life real simple. He knows exactly what wedge he's going to use when he needs to hit a pitch shot. Some people having too much choice can just bring too many questions into their head on the course. So keep it nice and simple for you. All I had Joe do there is just hit a few full shots with a 52 and a 58 degree. So in terms of what we tried, bounce and grind on these, we just went with as close as possible to what he's using at the moment. More than anything to just check the yardage gaps. Bounce will affect the distance of the shot a little bit, but obviously the loft has a bigger effect on that. So we're just going to double check and make sure that the distance gaps that he'll have in his bag with a 52 and 58 are going to be reasonable.
Okay. So I'm just looking at my numbers there. You can see I've got 58 degree, 52 degree in my pitching wedge, and I'm just wondering personally whether these are too big a gaps for me, 106 to 123 to 145. What do you think?
Yeah, as I sort of touched on earlier, I'd like to see them about 15 yards if I can do. I was lucky enough to learn a bit of wedge fitting from Bob Vokey himself, and with the world's best, he tries to hit about 12-yard gaps if he can. He finds that's the best gap to not leave you with a hole in your bag. So I would say that what we got there, a 22-yard gap and then a 17-yard gap, realistically it is a bit big, but then again, that's a little bit player dependent. If I was fitting, say, like an amateur that's maybe a slightly higher handicapper, then I probably wouldn't want them to have this gap, because for them to be able to hit a 3/4 wedge that carries 128 or so, when they need that little knockdown, it's going to be quite difficult for them to do. Whereas an accomplished high-level golfer, as a professional yourself, and obviously being a good player, then you're probably going to be more likely to be able to do it. So I'd kind of give you a bit more leeway than if I was fitting someone that was maybe slightly not as good an ability golfer. So we've checked how far Joe's hitting the different lofts. So the next step, as I touched on, is to head up the top, get onto our lovely grass range, and actually look at some divots and really test the bounce and grind for him.
So that was a lot of fun. Lewis has just taken me down to his short game area here at Northants County, where we've got really high quality chipping greens, so we can hit some out of the short stuff, some out of the longer grass. We've also got the bunker, so we get a bit of bunker play in there to check what's best for me out of there. And from a customer point of view, that's great, because you feel like you've really got all bases covered and it's a real thorough fitting.
Yeah, so that's the sort of final thing we'll look at during a wedge fitting, is going hitting those real short shots around the green. We'll spend a lot of time doing that, because obviously that's where you're going to use a wedge from the most, rather than on full swings. So go and get some true to life real shots in, true to life real lies that you're going to get around the green, rather than just doing it on a range. Do it properly how you would practice, I guess.
Brilliant. Right, so we're back inside, and I think I'm about to get my debrief.
So after the full wedge fitting, we've stuck with the 52 and 58 degrees for Joe because he's really happy with that. He's played with that for years. If I changed it for him, it would confuse things too much. We went and hit some off the grass and we found that he definitely reacts better to having more bounce on the club. He can get a little steep, chunky divots, the club can stick in the ground a little bit. Giving him that extra bounce just gives him the confidence it's going to glide through the turf a little bit easier and get the ball coming out in the window that he likes to see. And then the shorter shots around the greens, we stuck with the bounce he's got on his 58 because it's a good number for him. It's helping him out of the bunkers, helping him in the longer, juicier rough around the short shots. But just gave him something that's got a little bit more grind, a little bit more shave off the sole on the wedge, so that he's got a bit more versatility when he wants to open it and play from flop shots.
Exactly
So
that, yeah.
we're just trying to give him every shot in the bag that he needs when he's tight around the greens.
Right, so guys, that was a huge education for me. I had no idea there was so much you could do when it comes to wedges, and certainly fitting wedges. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got a little bit of an education from it too. If it's something that you're interested in, I'm sure Lewis will happily provide you with some details now. Do you want to talk to us about your socials, mate?
Yeah, so I've got Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, also myself, all under the title of ProFitting. On my Instagram I've got a highlights reel as well, which does explain my wedge fitting in a little bit of a shorter process. So yeah, if you like the video and like what you've seen today, just follow me on any of those guys. Any questions you've got, feel free to ping them over, I'm always there to answer.
And as you can see, I've put a link to Lewis above for you to click straight onto. Anyway, made it nice and easy. So like I say, if there's anything you would like to speak to him about, I'm sure he's at your beck and call. But in the meantime, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the channel for loads more, and we'll be back with Lewis soon, I'm sure. Man.
Perfect.
Cheers,
Thanks, mate.
Nice. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me at CardyGolf on all other social media, and I'll see you next week.